Team Herbalife, hey, what an honor to be here with Dr. John Heiss, welcoming back to Herbalife. And this is special for me because John is not only part of Team Herbalife, but he's a part of my life in a very meaningful way. We've spent a lot of time together. We're like brothers in many ways. I wish I could call you a brother at your young age, but our relationship started, John and mine, in 2009, I believe it was, with a experience we had together that I was competing in a bike time trial in Cayuma Canyon in Malibu. Got to the top of that, worn out, and I'm noticing everybody heading to this guy who had his trunk open in his car and is passing out samples of product. And I'm looking at this and going, that's interesting. So I went over, got my sample, put it in my water, shook it up, drank it, and my eyes kept coming back to you because I'm thinking, wow, this is pretty interesting because for years I had been trying to figure out how to bring sports nutrition into Herbalife and the way to do it. And I met all these creatine freaks and all these muscle builders and all these guys who were, came in here and their egos overshadowed their judgment. They wanted to take over everything and be everything. And then I met you and through a mutual friend of ours and sampled the product. I brought the product back here, ran it, as you probably know today, through our MNRI machine, which gave us a look at your product from a scientific basis, an ingredient basis, and everybody was super impressed. And when they came back to me and I thought, how do I build a relationship with this guy? So I started to invite you on bike rides, and you always wore your Prolong, that was the name of your product, jersey. Yep. And I kept saying to myself, I got to get him in an Herbalife kit and somehow. And it was you and Casey, and you kind of made fun of me a little bit initially, which was fair. You had an impression of Herbalife that some do from the outside in of, a company that maybe wasn't as advanced with product, wasn't as advanced in the marketplace as we were at the time in terms of having Nobel laureate science in our company and having a pretty complete supply chain and science department. But anyway, as I get to know you better and see what you're doing in the company, we reached an arrangement to buy John's company, Prolong, and bring John in. And at the time, what I didn't know is John had a PhD in biological chemistry from UCLA. I knew he was a cyclist and an athlete because I skied with you in the backcountry. I've cycled with you all over the world. I've had an incredible opportunity to see your gifts to this company. When we brought you into the company, you spent almost 11 years here, maybe a little longer, senior director, product marketing, and you brought us Herbalife 24. And from that, what were the revenues of Prolong at that time? Were they 20 grand?
It was pretty small.
Yeah,
on the order of 20. I mean, my car at the top of that hill didn't have a second gear, so I'd have to shift from first to third. It was a manual transmission. So,
well, the story I remember about you is saying that you hooked your cable up. You and Casey lived in the apartment in July so you could watch the Tour de France.
That's right. Only 1 month we paid for cable.
Yeah, you paid for cable for 1 month so you could watch the tour. And, we didn't want to take advantage of that economic situation you were in. But you have a baby that's grown to be something super special.
Well, I mean, team effort, Michael. I mean, I didn't know a lot about Herbalife when we met. And, as I got to know the company, the people, I met some of the scientists. I mean, it was cool. And when I learned more, it was like, this is a company I want to be part of. And together, the whole team, we built Herbalife 24 to what it is. And, I think it's got more legs to do even more in the future. So that's partly why we're here again today.
Well, we've gotten lucky to welcome you back. You when I first came back, we had a discussion in my garage, and you were a little bit reticent at that night because you were afraid I'm going backwards, not forwards, and I tried to convince you that we are moving this company forward in a new and dynamic way with our brand, with our verticals, with our image. But tell us a little bit about what you did in the 2.5 years that you were outside Herbalife.
Yeah, so I took a short leave from Herbalife. And, I kind of wanted to grow in some different ways, see what else is out there. And so I I took a leave kind of doing a deep dive in neuroscience with a health tech startup company in Silicon Valley, and really science focused. And we were trying to look at Alzheimer's disease and understand what causes it, how to measure it. And, it's an interesting disease because it's so complex. So many things funnel into brain health. Your heart, brain are connected, your gut, brain are connected. And so it's a really complex disease to study, but it comes down to diet, sleep, exercise are the three biggest things that we all have control of to help with cognitive health and brain health in the long run, which sounds a lot like what Herbalife's been preaching for, 43 years now. But the cool thing is I got really into understanding the neuroscience, understanding how we measure stuff. I'm wearing fitness trackers every day. It's changed my life.
You got them on
got
me.
The same ones on. But it's so cool the time we live in where we can measure stuff that's going to make an impact long term. And so, I learned a ton in that. I feel like I've come back to Herbalife with just a whole fresh outlook on science, on health, on personal development I've been working on. So it feels like a good time to be back.
So one of the key drivers into the future of Herbalife and the present and the future is our digital atmosphere that it's going to be the largest individual investment in the company's history, over $400 and some odd million. Makes me a little nervous as a CEO to spend that kind of money on technology that I'm slightly aware of. But what we're delivering is an opportunity for a distributor and a customer to understand how to have public health, and I've used that word and people are questioning the use of the word public, but I believe public health is the public, and wellness. And wellness is not only what you put in your body, it's what you put in your brain and how you get stronger and better and how you deal with sleep and anxiety and all these other things. And we're sitting here doing a podcast. And one of the things that I believe we can do strongly in the future is not only talk to people about their supplementation and their diet and their healthy, active lifestyles that are going to improve their lives, but also about coaching, about getting to the mental side. So in you're 2.5 years away. You guys looked at a lot of different aspects of Alzheimer's, of sleep. You tried to measure things. Where do you see that playing inside your knowledge now? When you bring that knowledge to Herbalife and you understand our vertical horizon that we're heading towards, the public health and wellness, how does that play in John Heiss's mind?
That's a good question. When I think about when people talk to me about having trouble sleeping, I think the easy thing coming from a nutrition company is say, here's another sleep product, or take some more melatonin. And it's this really singular approach. And I feel like what we need to be thinking about, what's that whole program look like? Like, sleep is very multidimensional. So maybe there's a supplement, but there's also the foods you're eating. It's the exercise you did throughout the day. It's what are your habits in terms of sleep hygiene, which is screen time, even the color of the lights in your house.
Alcohol consumption.
I talk about the color of lights in your house. Are they more dim, or are they more orange? Are they a little more blue? So there's so much stuff.
What do I want them to be?
You want to be definitely a little more warm light in the evenings, and even the direction of the light coming from below you rather than above you. So all these factors. But, I think this is like the beauty of our distributors is that they are a full service coaching, right? It's a whole coach around that customer. It's not just here's a tablet and a bottle, but how do they offer that value? And so I'd love for us to start thinking about this holistic approach, not thinking about just organ systems, it's heart health, brain health, but it's like the whole body's connected. And then what is everything you're doing in the life connected into that overall health? So I think there's a huge future. Plus with all the measurement devices,
Is that something we should be looking at?
I think totally. Now, how do we pull that into the Herbalife One and what's that look like? And, is there a best device? There's so many good devices. It's like any one works. They're all good starting point. There might be some that are a little bit better, and there's always new evolutions in the technology. But I've made tremendous changes that have improved my sleep, my mood, my health, my athleticism. So, a lot of it's due to wearable devices. So there's a huge future.
The measuring, you can't change what you don't measure.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is with the apps, you wake up in the morning, you've got this dashboard that stares you right in the face. You can't ignore that number. It's like, here it is. You know what you did last night, and you know what
failed
happened.
at sleep again.
Right.
That's what I learn every morning.
Yeah.
So, all right. So this is our universe. Our decision to go forward now is to be this public health and wellness company. We started as a weight loss company. We moved to a nutrition, sports nutrition, skincare company in the early 2000s. And today we're looking at what is the future? What is our opportunity? But there's a present value right now. And you've been given a responsibility day one. You want to explain what that is and tell us, what you're focused on in the short term, because I certainly want to make sure that you have the resources to do all the things that I believe you're going to bring to us.
Well, I mean, you and I have talked a lot about the verticals, and, I think maybe before we get there, I think the bigger vision is how do we modernize Herbalife, and what is modernization looking like? We've got some great products, and there's probably some tweaks we could make to make them even better, maybe to appeal to more people. And then I think there's maybe some lower selling products that need a couple tweaks that could be really big products.
When you say tweak, you're thinking ingredients.
I'm thinking like when I'm going to be in R&D. I'm in R&D, and I'm looking at ingredients and making sure that we've got ingredients that meet claims, that have science, that represent the newest thinking. And we also got to focus on taste and texture and all these things. So there's a lot of like moving parts. But yeah, what I want to start doing is looking at maybe our top 10 products and saying, hey, what can we tweak in there to make this product even better? So that for me, the vision is when I meet with my friends or I meet someone out and I tell them I work at Herbalife, and they look at the label and they go, oh yeah, this stuff is great. This product looks clean. It's on trend. It meets their criteria, right? And so something that they think is good, something that I would personally take, and I mean, I take tons of our products daily.
Give me your take on taste and taste profile, and what can we do to answer a audience that's saying to me, no sugar. Is it our vegan line that's coming? Is it, what?
I feel like sugar it's a little bit demonized. Like,
totally.
It's really easy to have this binary thinking. Like, this is good, this is bad. Sugar is bad, this is good. And I think it doesn't leave a lot of room for nuance. I used to train competitively. Like, there's no professional athlete who's like avoiding all sugar. It's really context dependent. So it's like, what did you do for that day? Like, what was your training load? So the sugar intake needs to respond to what you're doing. Glucose is really the only the predominant source of energy for your brain. So it's like our bodies
need sugar,
right? But the problem is like if you're not super active and you're consuming excess sugar, right? And this is where it gets into the nuance. So I get the thinking of like, cutting out sugar is generally a good thing for
especially processed sugar.
Most people, right? But yeah, so I mean, my vision is that like Formula One tastes amazing. Anyone I make a cookies and cream shake with PDM, I mean, it is delicious, right? And if you do have a customer who is super critical and stringent label reader, well, maybe we can make Formula One a little better, but maybe they get pushed into some of the new vegan organic line products that I think it has like no sugar, a trace amount of sugar.
I know from the home experience, and I get this because we have the white label product at home. We have the Herbalife, the new vegan line that we're pretty excited about. That's coming sometime this summer.
I heard it's delicious.
Christina who's my home test situation. She loves the chocolate. She said it again this morning. And she's not a big chocolate person. I mean, she's a mild chocolate, but she said, boy, the chocolate tastes great. And that's my favorite product is Herbalife Rebuild Strength, the chocolate Rebuild Strength. That's my go-to at Herbalife because I love the taste profile. I know I'm probably bulking up on calories a little more than I should with that, but I'll go work it off and
get
on the bike. I'm pretty active. But so for us, what do you think that vegan line brings to us?
Well, the vegan
here in the U.S. because we already have one in Europe.
Yeah, we got TriBlend in Europe. Right. Yeah, I mean, look, I still think like what Herbalife 24 did to Herbalife is huge in that we had Formula One that an athlete could certainly take Formula One. It's complete protein. You could take even more of it. You could add PDM or PPP and get 20, 30, 40 grams of protein. But Herbalife 24 was a line of products that was packaged to look and speak to an athlete. It had the ingredients, the types, the source of ingredients. It came with whey protein, dairy protein, amino acids. We made a product line that was really specific to a group of people that connected with them. And I think vegan line, while the market size might be relatively smaller,
less large than the
but
sports
again,
nutrition.
it's like we're going to now have a product that really appeals to those people, from the branding, the packaging, the ingredients, the formulation. Like, it's really going to appeal to that person. And I think that's really powerful, that it's going to give our distributors confidence that we've got all these different offerings, that they can feel super great about the formulation. You can give to anyone. They're like, wow, this stuff is, I went through the ingredients line by line last night, and I'm like, man, this is phenomenal. So it's exciting.
We're going to need you to help support that and speak to that.
I can't wait to get the products.
And so the other side of the coin, you developed your own product. You came here and developed product. You left and went to a science-based adventure on Alzheimer's, which was not a product development, but was a neuroscience development in you. And now you're back here in our R&D department. And if you're talking to a new distributor, and one of the things that I think people are not aware of is the size of our research and development, our science, our quality control. Can you speak to that a little bit for, if you're talking to somebody about the confidence of Herbalife and its product profile pipeline?
Yeah, it's definitely something I'm super proud about, that I feel like most people don't realize, because you read these articles that say like, oh, the FDA doesn't approve supplements and they have no say, and that's a little bit misinformed. The FDA's got really clear guidelines to make quality products. The challenge is that the enforcement's lacking. So there are companies out there doing, non-great things. And if you see a company that's making a product in 6 months, like, they're taking shortcuts. We have a longer development cycle, but what we do make it's great. It meets label claim. If you let it sit out for the shelf life, it's not going to turn into a mess and
right.
turn nasty and turn into maybe bad compounds. But I don't know the last count we had. It was something like over 100 PhDs in the science and R&D team. Our lab's got crazy HPLC and NMR machines.
What's HPLC?
High performance liquid chromatography. It's a way you separate compounds. But we got gel electrophoresis, looking at botanicals. The lab down there it's unbelievable. It blows away the stuff that I was using in grad school. We were a small research lab, but there's high throughput stuff down there. It's super cool to be part of that.
So confidence should be high in these products all the time. So one of the complaints you mentioned, not one of the complaints, one of the challenges for a company like us is speed to market with a product. Can you address that a little bit? Because I constantly get, not constantly, I get a little bit of input of why can't we move faster, quicker, better, bring something to the marketplace, and then somebody will point out to me some small manufacturer has this product with these incredible label claims on it. And my defense to that for us is that those small manufacturers, those label claims are them not worrying about the government or an agency coming after them because they're so small, and it's not worth the government's time to go after them. They might issue an edict or something, but they live on the same platform that we live on. So just talk to us a little bit about product development cycles.
Yeah, it's complicated because a small company, they sell the product. They don't necessarily care so much what happens after it leaves their warehouse. But take Rebuild Strength. There's probably 20 ingredients in there, right? So if you're a small company, you're just going to maybe get on Google and say, hey, I need potassium gluconate as my source of potassium. And you find the cheapest one. It comes from a broker, and they get a big bag of potassium gluconate apparently, and it looks like salt, and it might taste like salt, but they don't really know, is that 100% potassium or is it some other thing, what are the contaminants in there? So
we measure it, is what
we got everything, but Rebuild Strength's got 20 ingredients. CR7's got 20 ingredients. Formula One might have 40 ingredients because you got vitamins and minerals in there. So now you got to go. We go and make sure that the manufacturer buying all the ingredients from it is quality, and what's their supply chain look like? How do they make their products? What does their manufacturing facility look like? So we're not just looking at our manufacturing facility. We're going upstream,
seed to feed,
one or two or more steps, right? And then we're also doing test runs where we blend a medium-sized batch, and then we put that in chambers and make sure that the stuff doesn't decay. And so it's quite involved. we all wish we could do stuff faster, but when we do it, it's quality. We know it's getting to the end users is going to be great. So
I know from my experience with our distributors how excited they are to have you back for not only your science and your brain power and your energy. What excites you about being back?
Well, I mean, I feel like in a way I left, but I didn't really leave. Like I was active on the Nutrition Advisory Board, the NAB.
Right.
I've made lifelong friends with, lots of distributors. So, we've talked, we've done bike rides together with some of them. I mean, it's cool to be here. I'm just so excited to be back, to modernize products, to bring new stuff out. I mean, that's what gets me excited is how do we innovate and bring Herbalife to the next level, man. So
what has that personal relationship with distributors done for you?
I think it keeps me connected to the business and, Herbalife's, we're a person company. I mean, we're here in the office today. We've got executives in the hallway. It's fun to see people. I mean, it's super cool to get that energy jolt. But the more we get further from distributors and we're sitting in offices and we're not understanding what do they face when they're at a nutrition club, what does a customer ask them? It's more of this abstract, ethereal, they're a customer, what does a customer need? And the more we can connect with people, we understand the questions they have, what the challenges they have with ingredients or what needs they have. And I mean, I think that's the beauty of staying close to these guys. So
what do you do to get your creative juices running? Do you read? Do you investigate? Do you where do you go to get that to get the input, the knowledge, the drive?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of sources. I mean, I've gotten super into creative and art stuff lately.
You're a welder.
I learned how to weld. I've taken a lot of welding classes, so I've worked on some cool welding projects. And so that's a real source of creativity, trying to learn 3D modeling programs to help with that, trying to do some painting. I'm involved with some communities that are really creative and, interacting with people that are the opposite of science people. So, left brain, right brain.
Right.
I've said, okay, how do I not think so linearly like a scientist, but the more I've hung out with these people, I've seen a lot of different ways to think about problems. I've done a ton of meditation and personal development and therapy in the last couple of years. And I mean, the meditation's helped tremendously in terms of, just managing.
How long can you meditate for?
Well, I did a long weekend one time of 3 days, basically, of almost full meditation.
Really?
I did a float tank, which was 90 minutes of you're in a saltwater bath, total darkness. You're floating in a saltwater tank for 90 minutes. That was pretty intense.
I think about that, and I don't want to get too far afield from Herbalife here, but I don't think it is far afield from Herbalife because I think that wellness that we talk about is enhanced and buttressed by mental health, by the reduction of anxiety in our lives, which, this can be an anxious business because we're selling things to people and we're constantly on the move. But, I can't meditate for more than 2 or 3 minutes. My mind just gets too, that little hamster in the cage in my mind gets rolling again.
Yeah.
I'm jealous of you to say that you could do that. Maybe I need to
come
with you on a retreat.
Well, it's not a perfect 90 minutes, but hey, we're all in an arc. I mean, you dip in and out of it. But I mean, the brain is such a control over your whole body. I mean, it controls your blood pressure, your heart rate. It's going to impact how you sleep. And so if you can start to control the epinephrine in your brain, it's how you react, how you sleep. It's going to control digestive health. I mean, it hits everything. I mean, weight loss and everything. So it's pretty powerful.
So you're back with us, which is,
we're back, baby.
You're back, and I'm super excited. I came back for reasons that were not financial. I don't think you're here for financial reasons. I think that's nice to have a salary and a payroll and all that stuff. But I came back because I love this company. And
same.
I'm passionate about what we do, about what our distributors do, the focus on health, the focus on lifting somebody's dignity in life. Where is your place, do you believe, with the distributor universe as we go forward? Educate, to motivate, tell me what your perfect, we're going to march you on stage. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, look, I was here for almost 11 years. I know so many of our distributors on such good levels. I love working with them. I think having that confidence that I can speak transparently to them, they can speak transparently to me, I think is going to be super helpful to getting us on the same page. I want to go deep into ingredients with them. I want to understand what are the maybe consumer myths that they're facing that don't necessarily line up with science. And, we're going to have a little friction there. And, we're going to have to respond. And in some cases it's warranted. Some cases, we're going to have to maybe make some changes. But, I think it's a collaborative environment, but it's a two-way street as far as the way I see it.
So content and distribution are kind of my call words recently, that the creation of content and maybe the acquisition of content, because when you look back at it, we acquired Prolong.
Sure.
We acquired, and it's the basis of, where's our Prolong?
CR7 evolved from it. Prolong
Yes.
stolen in EMEA.
And Prolong is still a great product for being out there on a race course. I can tell you that. But how we evolve and where we go and these trends that come up. I mean, I live in Malibu, California, and this is the trendiest, hippest, place, and you got to do this. This is the product this month. Everything. Amino acids. Talk to me about amino acids real quick. That's now, becoming a buzzword again.
Amino acid. I mean, so we talk a lot about protein at Herbalife, and amino acids are just the building blocks of protein. Take protein, you break it down, and there's about 20 amino acids that make up pretty much all the proteins we eat. And some amino acids, like take tryptophan, it tends to make you sleepy. That's why we think about tryptophan in turkey, for example, making us tired. Certain amino acids, the branch chain ones, those are helpful for building muscle. And so we kind of go deeper and deeper. And we have amino acids in Herbalife 24 products and some other products, and it's kind of the same with plants. The plants have different compounds that are not just the vitamins, the letter vitamins we think of, but there's phytocompounds and phytonutrients and flavonoids, and these also have kind of unique properties. And so, I think there's so much opportunity.
So I don't want to get too geeked out here, but I
was loving to get.
I know,
geeked
and
out.
I will get a little geeky out because you said to me one time that when we talk about micronutrients, we're just scratching the surface of really understanding their value, where they are. Can you elaborate on that just a little bit?
Well, I always give examples like, the reason we eat spinach, isn't just because of, let's say, folate or some other vitamins or minerals in there, but there's thousands of plant compounds that have antioxidant potential. They start to signal different cells in our bodies to upregulate genes that are involved in health. And so we don't even know 99% of those compounds and what they do, but that's the real reason that plants are so healthy. But
okay, so digestive health.
Yeah.
Some of our distributors, not from our product, but as they have aged a little bit, struggle with digestive health. What can we do there to enhance digestive health? And I hope that's not a loaded question for you.
Well, yeah,
and I know it's individual too.
Yeah, we're coming out with a vegan line that's going to have a digestive health product in it, and we as humans don't digest our food. It's actually the microbes in our stomach that digest our food, and that's bacteria, that's fungi, that's even some healthy viruses, believe it or not. And so we got to feed those microbiome the right nutrients, and that's your prebiotics, which are fibers, and you got your probiotics, which are the right cultures of bacteria. So yeah, it's a living system that's inside of us.
And that's something you believe we can get better at?
Yeah, I think there's the right kind of fibers, the right kind of plant compounds, the right, those sort of phytonutrients in plants are helping feed those microbes. So, the future's bright, and I think we've got a cool opportunity we're modernizing the company, we're doing it, we're relaunching. You're back. It's good to be back. So,
well, I'm going to take you down one more product road.
All right.
And then I won't pick your deep brain too far into it. Fungi. Mushrooms. Yep. Everybody, we're drinking mushroom coffee. There's mushroom tea. There's mushroom this, mushroom that. Tell me what your take is.
Yeah. Mushrooms, I think we're discovering have some really great health benefits. They contain these compounds called beta-glucans, which start to stimulate the immune system. There's some compounds that might even be involved in the microbiome health. And there's, I don't know how many types of mushrooms, but it's an enormous, category of of a kingdom. And, we're just scratching the surface on what.
I mean, mushrooms are kind of like, to me, like peanuts. I mean, you go out and pick that wrong mushroom and eat it, you got a bad day ahead of you. And peanuts, some people have allergic reactions that are very deep. Is that true in the mushroom world too? Are there unique allergies other than poisons that, if you eat I know when I bike ride in Colorado, everybody says stay away from that red mushroom.
Yeah.
Because it's got poisonous
mushrooms
properties.
can do a lot of different things, right?
Right.
And so, and there's poisonous plants out there. So just like poisonous mushrooms, there's poisonous plants. And I think we know enough to steer away from the bad ones and hone in on the good ones. And I think we're learning a lot more about mushrooms from all kinds of parts of our health.
Got it. So that science is still... It's coming.
It's catching up.
It's catching up and coming on us. Johnny, it's been...
Good talking.
Man, it's so great to have you back.
Thanks.
Number one. I can't even begin to tell you. And for those folks who are going to listen to this and be a part of this is something we're going to do on an ongoing basis, not just with Dr. John Heiss, but with others in the company, not only distributors, but other science. We want to bring people in to talk to us about sleep health. We want to talk about mental health and anxiety. We want to talk about digestive health, about sports performance, all those areas. You are a unique individual that you cross the spectrum. We are blessed to have you back in the fold. I'm excited about our future together. I'm excited about the future of Herbalife. I'm excited about all the things we're going to see and hear at the upcoming honors, which you're going to be a big part of. So, brother, thank you. Great to see you.
Thanks, man.
Thank you very much.
Good to be
Thanks
back.
for listening to us today.
Yeah, thanks, everyone.